Now, in Radio 4's new classic serial, Michael Kitchen and Claire Price star in Charles Dickens' Bleak House, dramatised by John Dryden.
What have you brought to sell today?
Nothing to sell today, Chancellor.
You're looking well.
I'm feeling well, Chancellor. You see, today, my judgment has come.
Today?
Today?
Unexpected. Yesterday you were so down.
Let's drink to it.
So you won't be seen around the courts anymore then?
Not anymore.
Yeah, it's strange to think of the courts of chancery without Tom Jarndyce. You won't be bringing in your possessions for me to sell?
I won't need your money. Fetch a pint of wine, Mr. Crook.
What have you brought then? What's in that box if it's not to sell?
You've been a good friend to me all this time, Crook.
What's in the box?
If only you were the Lord Chancellor.
What's in the box?
Chancery would be a fairer place.
Jewels? I'll buy jewels.
When I've been depressed, you sat and talked with me. For that, I thank you.
What's in the box?
My inheritance.
The judgment, you mean?
Yes. The judgment.
In a box.
Now go across the lane and bring back some liquor.
Shall I tell everyone that Jarndyce and Jarndyce is finally settled? That the judgment has come?
Yes. Do that. And tell everyone, Mr. Crook, that whatever they do in their lives, they must do all they can to keep out of Chancery. It's like being ground to bits in a slow mill. It's being roasted at a slow fire. It's being stung to death by single bees. It's like being drowned by drops. It will drive them mad.
Come with me, Mr. Jarndyce.
Bring the wine here, Mr. Crook.
Tom Jarndyce.
I beg your pardon, Miss Esther Summerson. Hello. Miss Esther Summerson. Miss Esther Summerson. Miss Esther Summerson.
Yes.
Oh, I'm Mr. Guppy. Miss from Kensington Carboys of Lincoln's Inn. Miss, I'm here to collect you. Are these your boxes?
Yes, they are. Thank you.
Follow me, miss.
Yes. Has there been a fire?
Oh dear, no, miss. This is a London particular.
Oh, I've never heard of such a thing.
A fog, miss.
The fog is very dense indeed. How does anyone see where they're going? great deal of difficulty in knowing where to begin my story.
In the interests of my client, my lord, to point out to the court that... Excuse me, Lordship.
It relates to a suit in the Court of Chancery over a contested will that I play some small part in. It had been going on for so long, people had forgotten what it was all about. There were some lawyers who spent their entire careers working on nothing else.
Mr. Tangle! Have you nearly concluded your argument?
Well, no. A variety of points. Feel it my duty to submit, Lordship.
Am I right in thinking several members of the bar are still to be heard concerning Jarndyce and Jarndyce? In that case, we will proceed with the hearing on Wednesday fortnight.
Scores of people found themselves made parties in the Jarndyce and Jarndyce cause, as it was known. Children were born into the cause. Young people married into it. Old people died out of it, with still no judgment in sight.
In reference to the young girl...
Beg Lordship's pardon, boy.
In reference to the young girl and boy, the two young people whom I directed to be in attendance today and who are now in my private room, I will see them and satisfy myself as to the expediency of making the order for their residing with their uncle.
Beg Lordship's pardon, dead.
With their grandfather.
Beg Lordship's pardon, victim of rash action. Brain.
Will your lordship allow me? I appear for the man in question, Mr. John Jarndyce. He is a cousin, several times removed. I'm not at the moment prepared to inform the court in what exact remove he is a cousin, but he is a cousin.
I will speak with both the young people and satisfy myself on the subject of their residing with their
cousin, my lord.
Cousin. I will mention the matter tomorrow morning when I take my seat.
Thank you, my lord.
The court is dismissed.
This is the Court of Chancery, which has its contested, decaying houses and blighted lands in every shire, which has its worn-out lunatic in every madhouse and its dead in every churchyard. But my involvement with Chancery is indirect, though central to my story, and came much later than the point from which I think I should begin.
Esther, come in here, please. I said come in. Stand there, in front of me, where I can see you.
I was brought up from my earliest remembrance, like some of the princesses in the fairy stories.
Oh, sir.
Only I was not charming or clever, by my godmother, Miss Barbary. At least I only knew her as such. She was a good, good woman. She went to church 3 times a day.
Are you a good girl, Esther?
I would dearly like to be, Godmother.
Tell me why you're late from school today.
I was talking to some of the other girls, Godmother.
What about? What does this mean?
It's an invitation. I've been invited to a party, a birthday party.
It's out of the question. You are different from other children, Esther. Because you were not born like them in common sinfulness and wrath. You are set apart.
Please, may I go, Godmother?
Submission, self-denial, diligent work. These are the preparations for a life begun with such a shadow on it. Not parties. I will reply to the invitation myself on your behalf.
Even when my birthday arrived, it was hardly celebrated. Often it was the most melancholy day at home in the whole year.
It would have been far better, little Esther, that you had had no birthday. Indeed, that you had never been born.
Godmother, is it that Mamma died on my birthday?
Ask me no more, child.
Oh, please tell me something of her, please. What did I do to her? How did I lose her? Why is it my fault? No, don't go away. Or speak to me.
Let go of me!
I want to know, please.
Your mother, Esther, is your disgrace, and you are hers.
My name is Kenge. From Kenge and Carboy at Lincoln's Inn. Well, come in, Esther. Sit down here. Now, please, don't distress yourself. As you will no doubt be aware, the late Miss Barbary was not a woman of means. And what little she had, she's left to the church. So, now, young lady, now that your aunt is dead, you must in some way...
My aunt, sir?
Miss Barbary was indeed your aunt, Esther. Don't distress yourself. Don't cry. Now, you've heard of Jarndyce and Jarndyce.
No, sir.
Is it possible? I beg you, please don't cry. Is it possible that you've never heard of Jarndyce and Jarndyce?
No.
Not one of the longest-running, most expensive chancery suits ever known?
No.
Well, let me explain. Now, I represent, in the Jarndyce and Jarndyce suit, and in other matters too, a highly humane and singular man, Mr. John Jarndyce. He, being aware of your desolate position, offers to place you at a first-rate establishment where your education shall be completed. Now, what do you say,
6 happy and peaceful years I spent at a small school near Reading, where I was taught to be a governess. I was soon so adapted to the routine that my old life at my godmother's, my aunt's house, seemed like a dream. Regularly I wrote to my benefactor, Mr. Jarndyce, and told him of my progress, and for 6 years heard nothing back. I was troubled to know what sort of man would want to be so generous to a stranger. And one November morning, I received a letter from Mr. Kenge.
Miss Esther Summerson. Miss Esther Summerson.
Yes.
Oh, I'm Mr. Guppy. Miss, from Kenge and Carboys of Lincoln's Inn. Miss, I'm here to collect you. Are these your boxes?
Yes, they are. Thank you.
Follow me, miss.
Yes. Has there been a fire?
Oh dear, no, miss. This is a London particular.
I've never heard of such a thing.
A fog, miss.
The fog is very dense indeed. How does anyone see where they're going?
In case you should wish to see yourself, miss, after the journey, as you're going before the Chancellor, I have here a small looking glass. Not that you need to, I'm sure.
Going before the Chancellor?
It's only formality, miss. Mr. Kenge is in court now. He instructed me to take you directly to the Chancellor's chambers.
Miss Clare. Miss Ada Clare.
This is Miss Ada Clare, my love.
Come here, Miss Clare. Let me see you. Sit down.
Sit down, my dear.
The Jarndyce in question is Jarndyce of Bleak House.
Jarndyce of Bleak House, my love.
A dreary name.
But not a dreary place at present, my love.
And Bleak House is in...
Is in Hertfordshire, my lord.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Jarndyce of Bleak House is not married.
He's not, my lord.
Miss Clare, do you understand the proposed arrangement?
Yes, my lord, I do.
That as a minor and a ward of this court, you are to live under the guardianship of your cousin, Mr. John Jarndyce of Bleak House.
Yes, my lord.
Have you reflected on this arrangement?
Yes, I have, my lord.
And do you think you will be happy living under the roof of Mr. Jarndyce?
Yes, my lord, I do.
Young Mr. Richard Carstone is present.
Here, my lord. Mr. Jarndyce of Bleak House, my lord, if I may venture to remind your lordship, provides a suitable companion for...
For Mr. Richard Carstone?
No, my lord, for Miss Ada Clare. This is the young lady, Miss Esther Summerson. Miss Summerson, come here. You sit there.
Miss Summerson is not related to any party in the Jarndyce and Jarndyce cause, I think.
No, my lord, but, my lord, my client, Mr. Jarndyce, wanted me to make it known.
So you're an orphan too?
Yes.
What a peculiar place for us all to meet.
I'm Esther.
I know. I've been looking forward to meeting you. I've never had a companion before.
Very well. I shall make the order.
Thank you, madam.
Well, thank God that's over. So, Miss Summerson, where do we go next?
Don't you know?
Not in the least.
And don't you know where we're going?
No.
Don't you? Not at all. Mr. Kenge just said wait outside.
We'd better wait for Mr. Kenge, then.
Esther's an orphan too, Richard.
Strange place for us all to come together for the first time. Have you ever seen such a farm?
Although we're cousins, Richard and I only met today.
Ah, here's Kenge.
You and I, Esther, shall be sisters.
Where to next, Mr. Kenge? Oh, sorry.
Oh, you must be the wards in Jarndyce.
I'm sorry, I don't think we've met.
Very happy, I'm sure, to have the honour. It is a good omen for youth and hope and beauty when the wards in Jarndyce and Jarndyce find themselves in this place and don't know what's to come of it.
Yes, she's mad.
I was a ward myself. I was not mad at that time. I had youth and hope. I believe beauty. It matters very little now. Neither of the three served or saved me. I have the honour to attend court regularly with my documents. I accept a judgment shortly, on the day of judgment. Pray, accept my blessing.
We are very much obliged.
Yes, I imagine so. And here is your lawyer with his documents. How does your honourable worship do?
Oh, quite well, quite well. Now, don't be troublesome, there's a good soul.
By no means anything but troublesome. I expect a judgment shortly on the day of judgment. This is a good omen. Accept my blessing.
Now, we have arranged your transport to St. Albans, where Mr. Jarndyce awaits your arrival.
Youth and hope and beauty and chancery.
It is not far from London. Guppy, have Miss Summerson's boxes been brought round?
I took them round personally, sir.
Good.
Miss Summerson.
Thank you.
It was my sincere pleasure, miss.
Well, I must now leave you to Mr. Guppy. He will see you on your way. Goodbye, and good luck to all of you.
Oh, I am sorry, sir. I forgot. Name again?
Tulkinghorn. My name is Tulkinghorn.
Pardon. I am expected. Wait, I will tell Sir Lester. Wait.
Mr. Tulkinghorn. Come in.
Thank you.
Madam Hortense, never keep Mr. Tulkinghorn waiting. Now go and get some refreshments. She's French, you know. Been with us since, I don't know. Now, how long has Madame Hortense been with us, dear?
Too long.
And she still doesn't know who's who.
Lady Dedlock, I trust you are well.
We're bored of the countryside. We're en route to Paris.
Have you had a good journey down?
We're bored of the damn rain. Aren't we, dear?
Mr. Tulkinghorn, please sit down.
Thank you.
My lady's course has been before the Chancellor again, has it?
Yes. Today.
It would be useless to ask whether anything had been settled.
Nothing that you would call anything has been settled.
Nor ever will be.
Yes. As a few fresh affidavits have been put upon the file, and as they are short, and as you are going to Paris, I have brought them. May I?
Please.
In Chancery between John Jarndyce and...
If you could miss out as many of the formal horrors as you can.
Perhaps Lady Dedlock would rather just sign. They differ very little to the last affidavits.
Who copied this?
It was copied at my law stationer's in Lincoln's Inn.
Is it what you lawyers call law hand?
Not quite, my lady. Probably the legal character was acquired after the original hand was formed. I would say the person who copied this would have taken to law writing late in life.
Do you know who copied it?
I could find out. Why do you ask?
Anything to vary this detestable monotony.
Hey there, my love. Esther, my dear. You're welcome. I rejoice to see you. Rick, if I had a hand to spare at present, I would give it to you. Come on in. Come and see your home.
You're very kind, sir. We're very much obliged to you.
How did you like the ride?
It was very cold. Oh, this is a beautiful house.
I'm glad you like it. Bleak House makes no pretensions, but it's a comfortable little place, I hope, and will be more so with such bright young looks in it. Now, you have barely half an hour before dinner. There's no one here but the finest creature upon earth, a child.
A child?
Yes, come and meet him. You'll see what I mean. He's been unfortunate in his affairs and unfortunate in his pursuits and unfortunate in his family, but he don't care. He's a child. This is Mr. Harold Skimpole, who is staying here for a short while.
What delightful apparition is this? I'm totally charmed.
Mr. Skimpole was educated for the medical profession, but he's no longer practicing.
Oh?
Ah, you see, I have no head for detail. I was never able to prescribe with the requisite accuracy.
Let me show you to your rooms.
Yes. Have you not seen your room yet? Yes, my good friend Jarndyce has helped me to several openings in life, but to no purpose, for I must confess that you're the oldest infirmities in the world. One, that I have no idea of the time. The other, that I have no idea of money.
Yes, well, perhaps we can discuss this at dinner.
After you.
We lived at first rather a busy life at Bleak House. I, having been entrusted with the housekeeping keys, spent the first few days familiarising myself with the house with its 3 turrets and its various shaped windows. It was such an unusually rambling house that even after days of attending to my new duties, I was still discovering rooms I didn't know existed.
Oh, Mr. Jarndyce, I didn't know you were here.
Yes. Sit down, my dear. Yes. Yes, this, you must know, is the growlery. When I'm out of humour, I come and growl here.
You must be very seldom here, sir.
Oh, you don't know me. When I'm deceived or disappointed, I take refuge here. In the growlery is the best used room in the house. You're not aware of half my humours yet. My dear, how you were trembling.
I don't know what to do to thank you, Mr. Jarndyce, for all your kindness to me.
No, there's no need for that. No need. No, don't be foolish. I hear of a good little orphan girl without a protector, and I take it into my head to be that protector. She grows up and more than justifies my good opinion, and I remain her guardian and her friend. There's nothing more to it, yes? Yes?
Yes.
Of course, Esther, you don't understand this chancery business. I don't know who does. The lawyers have twisted it into such a state of bedevilment that the original merits of the case have long disappeared from the face of the earth.
But it was, sir, about a will?
Why, yes, it was about a will when it was about anything. A certain Jarndyce in an evil hour made a great fortune and made a great will, but now it's about nothing but cost. And we're always appearing and disappearing and swearing and interrogating and filing and cross-filing and arguing and sealing and motioning and referring and reporting and revolving about the Lord Chancellor. And we can't get out of the suit on any terms, for we are made parties to it and must be parties to it, whether we like it or not. But it won't do to think of it. I've learned, Esther, never to think of what may come. When my great-uncle, poor Tom Jarndyce, began to think of the wealth he would receive if the Jarndyce and Jarndyce cause were settled in his favour, he could think of nothing else. And it ruined him. Well, it killed him. This was his house, Esther. When I came here, it was bleak indeed. He had left the signs of his misery upon it.
How changed it must be now.
It had been called before his time the Peaks. He gave it its present name and lived here, shut up, day and night, poring over the wicked heaps of papers in the suit and hoping against hope to disentangle it from its mystification and bring it to a close. And in the meantime, the place became dilapidated. Well, I told you this was the growlery, my dear. These are the things I never talk about or even think about, excepting in the growlery here. Rick, a fine young fellow, full of promise. What's to be done with him? Here he is, Esther. He must have a profession. He must make some choice for himself.
Perhaps it would be best, first of all, to ask Richard what he inclines to himself.
Well, exactly so. That's what I mean. You know, just accustom yourself to talk it over with your tact and in your quiet way with him and Ada and see what you all make of it.
I hope, sir...
Well, I think you do. You'd better call me guardian, my dear.
I hope, guardian...
Oh, yes, that sounds better.
That you may not trust too much to my discretion. I hope you may not mistake me. I am not clever.
Well, you are clever enough to be the good little woman of our lives here, my dear. You will sweep the cobwebs from our sky. Come, I think we may have done with the growlery for one day. Only a concluding word. Esther, my dear, do you wish to ask me anything?
About myself, sir?
Yes.
Nothing. I am quite sure that if there were anything I ought to know, or had any need to know, I should not have to ask you to tell it to me. I have nothing to ask you, nothing in the world.
Good day, miss. Is Sir Leicester or Lady Dedlock at home today?
Yeah, I'm Paris.
I see. I apologise for disturbing you.
What do you want?
My name is Guppy. This is my colleague, Mr. Weevil.
Good day, madam.
We've come from London to attend a magistrates' meeting 10 miles off this morning. And as our business was soon over and we'd had a great deal said of the Dedlock family home, Chesney Wold, we've come through the wet to see it.
Well, Mrs. Rouncewell, the housekeeper, is not here now. You come back later.
We are lawyers, miss. My card. From Kensington Carboys of Lincoln's Inn. I'm not with Mr. Tulkinghorn's firm, but I'm sure I may make use of Mr. Tulkinghorn's name if necessary. Us London lawyers don't often get out, and when we do, we like to make the most of it, you know.
Chesney Wold has been the seat of the Dedlock family since the reign of William the Conqueror.
Really? Dear me, who's that?
Oh, the present Lady Dedlock. Some say it is a perfect likeness, but I am close to her.
Blessed. Has the picture been engraved, miss? Has it appeared in books?
I don't think so.
Well, I'll be shot. I know that picture, I'm sure. So that's Lady Dedlock, isn't it?
Yeah, so over here is...
She's beautiful, don't you think?
Well, it is painted by a master, but the real Lady Dedlock is...
Her skin, it seems to glow.
Now, over here, on the right, is the present Sir Leicester Dedlock. The picture on the left is his father, the late Sir Leicester.
So it's unaccountable to me how well I know this picture. So I'm dashed if I don't think I must have had a dream of that picture, you know.
Would you like to see the armory?
What? Oh, yes.
Come on, darling.
Miss Summerson! Miss Summerson! Miss Summerson! Come in. If you please, miss, Mr. Carstone says, would you come upstairs to Mr. Skimpole's room? He's been took, miss. Took, miss, sudden.
Oh, Miss Summerson, I'm glad you're here. You'll be able to advise us. Our friend, Mr. Skimpole here, don't be alarmed, is about to be arrested for debt. Now, this gentleman is Mr.
Neckett.
Yes. And Mr. Neckett is a bailiff.
Yeah, and really, my dear Miss Summerson, I never was in a situation in which that excellent sense and quiet habit of method and usefulness, which anybody must observe in you who has the happiness of being a quarter of an hour in your society, was more needed.
Are you arrested for much, sir?
My dear Miss Summerson, I don't know. Some pounds, odd shillings and halfpence, I think, were mentioned.
It's £24, 16 and 7 halfpenny. That's what it is.
And it sounds, well, somehow it sounds like a small sum.
Mr. Skimpole has a delicacy in applying to my cousin Jarndyce because he is lately... Well, I think, sir, I understood...
Yes. Though I forgot how much it was and when it was. Jarndyce would readily do it again, though. But I have the epicure-like feeling that I would prefer a novelty in help, that I would rather develop generosity in a new soil and in a new form of flower.
What do you think will be best, Miss Summerson?
What will happen if the money is not produced?
Jail? Or conveyances?
Conveyances?
House for debtors.
Really? I thought that being parties in a chancery suit concerning, as people say, a large amount of property, Mr. Richard or his beautiful cousin, or both, could assign something, or make over something, or give some sort of undertaking or pledge or bond.
You owe the money.
Yes. Now, my dear Miss Summerson and my dear Mr. Richard, here you see me utterly incapable of helping myself, and entirely in your hands. I only ask to be free. The butterflies are free, huh? Mankind will surely not deny to Harold Skimpole what it concedes to the butterflies.
I have £10 that I received from Mr. Kenge. Do you have anything?
I have my savings.
How much?
£15.
Go and fetch it. We must help our new friend. And when my judgment comes, I'll see that you're repaid with interest, my dear. Yes.
Excellent. Well done.
We held many consultations about what Richard was to be. First without Mr. Jarndyce, as he had requested, and afterwards with him. But it was a long time before we seemed to make progress. The Navy, the Army, the Church, law, all were discussed as possible careers, and all were discounted. Eventually, Richard made his choice, and we went to London to take Mr. Kenge into counsel.
A surgeon?
Yes, well, very good profession, Mr. Jarndyce. It was a very good profession.
Well, the course of study and preparation requires to be diligently pursued.
Oh, yes, no doubt. Diligently.
But that's the case with everything worth doing.
And Mr. Richard Carston will, no doubt, apply himself?
You may rely upon it.
Very well. Now, with reference to placing Mr. Carston with some sufficiently eminent practitioner, do you have anyone in mind?
Well, no one, Rick, I think.
No one, sir.
And as to the situation now, is there any particular feeling?
No. I should like a little variety, a good range of experience.
Well, I think that can be arranged. As soon as we make our want, and should I add our ability to pay a premium known, our only difficulty will be the selection of one from a large number.
Sir, it's pretty clear. I shall have to work my own way. Never mind.
Plenty of people have had to do that before now, Richard.
I only wish I could carry off the Lord Chancellor and keep him on short allowance until he gave judgment in our cause. He'd find himself growing thin if he didn't look sharp.
Oh, Richard, you'll be a splendid doctor. Are we lost? This is the road we came down before. It's too foggy. We're walking round in circles.
You see, cousin, we're doomed never to get out of Chancery. Well, don't look. There's the old lady again.
Jarndyce! Very happy, I'm sure.
Are you on your way to court, Mum?
Oh, I've just come from court. It's retired. I have the honour to attend court regularly with my documents. Now, have I the pleasure of addressing another of the youthful parties in Jarndyce?
Oh, no.
No, Miss Summerson is not connected with the suit.
Ah, she does not expect a judgment. She will still grow old. Pray, come and see my lodging.
Oh, thank you, but we're due back at Lincoln's Inn shortly.
It will be a good omen for me. Youth and hope and beauty are very seldom there. It is a long, long time since I had a visit from either. Come! Oh, it's not far.
Richard?
Come on, it might be amusing.
Hey, walk in. Mr. Crook! I am still having difficulty with this door. You promised to mend it.
Come through. Come in through the shop if other doors are open.
Yes, we'll use the other door. Come on. It'll only take a minute.
Oh, well, let's get it over with.
Richard, are you sure?
Excuse my landlord. He's a little, you know, and he drinks.
Hi-fi bottles, marine stores, bones, kitchen stuff, old iron, paper, ladies and gentlemen's wardrobes, anything.
And do you sell them too?
They call me the Lord Chancellor, and call my shop Chancery. And why do you think they call me the Lord Chancellor and my shop Chancery?
I don't know, I'm sure.
You see, they... Oh, here's a lovely hair. I have got 3 sacks of ladies' hair below, but none so beautiful and fine as this. What colour and what texture.
That'll do, my good friend. You can admire as the rest of us do without taking that liberty.
It's all right, Richard. Thank you for the compliment, sir.
You see, I have so many things here of so many kinds. I have so many old parchments and papers in my stock.
Yes, yes.
And I have a liking for rust and must and cobwebs and all's fish that comes to my net. And I can't bear to part with anything I once lay hold of, or so my neighbours think. What do they know? I don't mind. Hi, Lady Jane. This is Lady Jane. Shall I know you, Scratcher? There, my lady. I deal in catskins among other general matters, and hers was offered to me. It's a very fine skin, as you may see, but I didn't have it stripped off.
That will do, Crook. My young friends are pressed for time. I have none to spare myself, having to attend court very soon. My young friends are the wards in Jarndyce.
Jarndyce?
Jarndyce and Jarndyce. The great lawsuit, Crook.
Your name now will be...
Richard Carstone.
Carstone. Yes. There was the name of Barbary, and the name of Claire, and the name of Deadlock too, I think.
Yes.
All names in the great Jarndyce and Jarndyce seat. Tom Jarndyce. He was as well known about court as she is now. He got into a restless habit of strolling about when the cause was on or expected, talking to the little shopkeepers and telling them to keep out of chancery, whatever they did. He made away with himself just where the young lady stands, as near as could be.
Oh, poor, wretched man.
The only other lodger lives in this room, a law writer. I never see him. The children in the lanes here say he has sold himself to the devil. I don't know what he can have done with the money. Hush. This is where I live. Come in. You see, from here, I can see Lincoln's Inn Hall. I can look at it in the night, especially in the moonshine. Well, apologies for the lack of furniture. Please, sit here. Oh, thank you. Just papers. My work bags. Sit there, yes, thank you. Well, extremely honoured, I am sure, by this visit from the wards in Jarndyce. I have lived here many years. I am limited as to situation. I pass my days in court, my evenings and my nights here. I find the nights long, for I sleep but little and think much. Yes, that is, of course, unavoidable, being in Chancery. Now, what can I give you?
No, we don't need anything.
Oh. I'm sorry I cannot offer you chocolate. I seem to be a bit short of supplies at present. I expect a judgment shortly, and shall then place my establishment on a superior footing. Pull open that curtain there.
This?
Pull. Oh, the sparkling things! I began to keep the little creatures with the intention of restoring them to liberty when my judgment should be given. Yes. They die in prison, though. Their lives, poor silly things, are so short in comparison with chancery proceedings that one by one the whole collection has died, over and over again. I doubt, you know, whether one of these, though they are all young, will live to be free.
What a terrible thought.
Indeed. I wonder whether I may not one day be found lying stark and senseless here, as I have found so many birds.
Oh, they must make good company. Do they sing much?
I can't allow them to sing much, so I keep them in the dark. I find my mind confused by the idea that they are singing while I am following the arguments in court.
Yes, wait a minute, I'm coming. Mr. Tulkinghorn. Oh, is that you? Oh dear, what a pleasure.
I want a word with you, Snagsby.
Oh, but I'm certainly, sir. Dear me, sir, why didn't you send your young man round for me? I've just finished my pudding. Please, come into the back shop. It's just through here. Here we go, just through here. You just walk through there. There, yeah, that's right, just through there. I'll bring some more light.
What you doing?
Customer.
We're waiting.
Rich, influential. I'll be back in a minute, dear. I'll just put this out on the table, and we can see what we're doing. Right, please, sit down.
Jarndyce and Jarndyce, Snagsby.
Yes, sir.
You copied some affidavits in that course for me lately?
Yes, sir, we did.
There was one of them, the handwriting of which is peculiar and I rather like. I looked in to ask you who copied this.
Oh, who copied this, sir? Yes, Juby, Packer, Jarndyce. Here we are, sir. This was given out, sir, to a writer who lodges just over the opposite side of the lane.
What do you call him?
Nemo, sir. Given out on the Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, brought in on the Thursday morning at 9:30.
Nemo?
Nemo.
Nemo is Latin for no one.
Well, it must be English for someone, sir, I think. Our law writers who live by job work are a queer lot, and this may not be his name, but it's the name he goes by.
Have you given this man work before?
Oh, dear, yes, sir, work of yours.
And where does he live?
Across the lane, sir. In fact, he lodges above a rag and bottle shop.
Come through, sir. What have you got to sell?
Is your lodger in?
Male or female, sir?
Male. The person who does copying.
Shall I call him down? There's a weak chance if he'd come, sir.
I'll go up to him then.
Second floor, sir. Take the candle. Up there. You know what they say of my lodger?
What do they say of him?
They say he has sold himself to the devil. I'll tell you what, though. My lodger is so black-humoured and gloomy that I believe he'd as soon make that bargain as any other. Don't put him out, sir. That's my advice.
On Richmond Hill there lives a lass more bright than May-day morn, whose charms all other maids surpass, her rose without a thorn.
It hurts me that I should be the enemy, as I suppose I am, of a great number of relations and others, and that they should be my enemies, as I suppose they are, and that we should all be ruining one another without knowing how or why.
In any case, the Chancery will work none of its bad influences on us. Yes?
Yes.
After all, it's brought us together. I'm grateful for that.
I am too.
And it can't divide us now.
Never, I hope, Richard.
Mr. Guppy, come in.
Thank you.
And how is Mr. Kenge? I hope he is well.
Yes, well, very well. Thank you again.
Good. Are you on a mission?
Sorry, miss?
You come to Bleak House on business at this time of the evening?
Yes, some papers, miss, for Mr. Jarndyce.
Do you need to see Mr. Jarndyce?
No, miss. Yes.
I will inform him of your arrival.
Yes. Thank you, Miss Summerson.
Will you be staying tonight?
No, miss. I'm required at Lincoln's Inn in the morning.
You will find some dinner prepared downstairs when you have finished your meeting.
Shall I have the honour of finding you here as well, miss?
Yes.
And what will you have yourself, miss? You'll eat something?
No, thank you. We will be dining later. I must attend to some household matters, so if you are comfortable, I will leave you to get on with your meal.
I beg your pardon, miss. Would you allow me the favour of a minute's private conversation? What follows is without prejudice, miss.
I don't understand.
It's one of our law terms, miss. You won't make any use of it to my detriment at Kensington Carboys or elsewhere, if our conversation should lead to nothing. Hello, my friend. Hello. Hello.
Hello, my friend. Hello. Who's there?
It's me. Can't you wake him?
No. What is that smell?
What have you done with your candle?
It's gone out.
Give it to me. I'll light it on the fire. Nemo, wake up.
Does the man generally sleep like this?
I don't know. I know next to nothing of his habits, except that he keeps himself very close. Nemo. Nemo, wake up. Wake up.
That calf, I think he's dead.
Wake up!
He's dead.
Call out for flight, will you?
Flight? Flight! Flight! Flight, come here quickly, whoever you are! Flight!
Yes, I'm coming. What is it? What has happened?
Flight. The doctor. Quickly! Run!
My present salary, Miss Summerson, at Kensington Carboys is £2 a week. A rise is guaranteed at the expiration of a term not exceeding 12 months from the present date. My mother is eminently calculated for a mother-in-law. She never interferes, she's all for peace, and her disposition easy. Well, she has her failings, as who has not, but may be freely trusted with wines, spirits, or malt liquors.
I see.
Miss Summerson, in the mildest language, I adore you. Would you be so kind as to allow me, as I may say, to file a declaration? To make an offer?
Mr. Guppy, get up from that ridiculous position immediately, sir, or I will be obliged to ring the bell.
Oh, hear me out, miss.
I cannot listen to another word, sir, unless you get up from the carpet at once and sit down at the table.
I am aware that my offer is a poor one. But Miss Summerson, Angel, no, don't ring. I have been brought up in a sharp school. I have ferreted out evidence, collected information for cases, and seen life. I could advance your interests, push your fortunes. I could investigate your past. Find out who your mother is, who your father is. I mean, who knows what might be thrown up.
Mr. Guppy, you address my interest, or what you suppose to be my interest, quite as unsuccessfully as you have addressed my inclination. And will you now understand that I am asking you to leave immediately?
Oh, please, hear me. I have been struck by your charm since the day I met you off the coach. Your image is fixed in my breast. I mean, if I speak of investigating your interests, it is only so I may be useful to you. I mean, needed by you.
If you have really meant to give me a proof of your good opinion, though ill-timed and misplaced, I feel that I ought to thank you. I have very little reason to be proud, and I am not proud. I hope you will now go away.
Yes. Yes, of course. Half a minute, miss. This has been without prejudice.
I will never mention it, sir, unless you should give me future occasion to do so. Good night, Mr. Guppy.
Yes, good night, Miss Summerson.
Has he been dead long?
Probably about 3 hours. He has died of an overdose of opium, there is no doubt.
Do you think he did it on purpose?
I can't say. He was very poor, I suppose.
I suppose he was. His room, well, don't look rich. But I've never been in it since he had it, and he was too close to name his circumstances to me.
Did he owe you any rent?
6 weeks.
He will never pay it. To judge from his condition and appearance, I should think it a happy release. You don't know anything about him?
That he was my lodger for a year and a half and lived, or didn't live, by law writing.
That's next bit. Can you give the person of the house here, Mr.
Crook.
Mr. Crook, any information about this unfortunate creature? He was in arrears with his rent, it seems, and he must be buried, do you know?
Well, sir, I really don't know what advice I could offer except send him for the beadle.
I don't speak of advice. I could advise.
Oh, yes. Well, no one better, sir, I'm sure.
I am asking for some clue to his connections, where he came from, anything about him.
I assure you, sir, I no more know where he came from than I know, you know...
Where he has gone to, perhaps?
Well, exactly, I couldn't put it better myself.
Mr. Crook. Hadn't you better see whether he had any papers that may enlighten you? There will be an inquest, and you will be asked the question. You can read.
No, I can't.
In that case, since I am here, I will look over the room for you. Then I can testify on your behalf, if it should ever be necessary, that all was fair and right. Pass me the candle, Mr. Snagsby. Thank you. Now, my friend, we will soon see whether there is anything here to help.
In episode 1 of Bleak House by Charles Dickens, Claire Price played the part of Esther Summerson, Michael Kitchen, John Jarndyce, John Shrapnel, Kenge, Jean Marsh, Miss Flight, Anton Lesser, Tulkinghorn, Honeysuckle Weeks, Ada, Robert Portal, Richard, Rob Jarvis, Guppy, Daisy Beaumont, Lady Deadlock, Michael Atwell, Crook, Ellie Haddington, Hortense, Michael Fenton Stevens, Skimpole, Jonathan Oliver, Tom Jarndyce, Greg Hicks, Snagsby, Tamara King, young Esther. Other parts were played by Hugh Terry, Suzanne Rainforth, Brendan O'Hay, and members of the cast. Bleak House was dramatised and directed by John Dryden.